now we've got Tony here to give us a little bit of an introduction to the canals, which is brilliant. Thank you so much for doing this, Tony.
So that was very interesting. Lovely boat. Just looking at all the details and everything, it's certainly fitted out to a very high standard. Just like going on the Orient Express, I would imagine.
Well, that was part of the inspiration, so I'm glad.
Yeah, it's lovely. And to actually get a real piano on a boat, they do some interesting things on canal boats, puppet shows and touring theatres.
Yeah.
So, and this is absolutely a great idea. Very success with it. Anyway, so I'm Tony. I'm a volunteer at the Canal Museum, so I'm nothing to do with the boat itself. And I've been asked just to give you a little introduction to particularly the Regent's Canal and the Canal Museum as well. So welcome to the Canal Museum and Battlebridge Basin, as this is called. This is where we're hosting the boat. So Battlebridge Basin is situated about halfway along the Regent's Canal. Regent's Canal is sort of the main thoroughfare waterway, non-river waterway in London. And it was built as a connection between the rest of the canal system, which runs up to the north of England, and to at the time, the docks in the East End of London. We're talking about early 19th century. And the Regent's Canal was actually completed in the year 1820. That's when it was opened, so 201 years ago, on the 1st of August, actually. So it was 201 years ago today. Last year we were going to have big celebrations, but of course that wasn't possible. There was a bit of a musical event on that day, actually, because close to here is the Islington Canal Tunnel, and there was a big procession of boats, and they actually had an orchestra playing on one of them, and they were playing as they went through the canal tunnel. And the acoustics must have been amazing. And there were reports of a very fine sound being heard. And they were met at the far end to a barrage of cannon fire, apparently. So exactly 201 years ago today, that was. But you see here the River Thames, the docks here in the east. Before the Regent's Canal was built, boats had to travel all the way down to Brentford, which is on the River Thames, transfer all their cargoes onto Thames barges or lighters, and then move the cargo to the docks, and the same on the way back. So quite inefficient, having to load and unload just for that fairly small stretch. But it was quite late in coming. There was a branch here to central London, which opened in 1801, I think it was, ran as far as Paddington. So that was fine for getting goods to central London, but not to the docks. So the Regent's Canal was built. It was supposed to be built in 4 years. It was one of these projects that was over time, over budget. It was supposed to cost about £400,000, and it ended up costing twice that. It was supposed to take 4 years to build, and it took twice as long. And it was a private venture. People had to buy shares in it. They made their investment, and they kept getting asked to invest more and more money in it, and they all got a bit fed up. And at one time, the construction actually stopped completely because, for various reasons, the little company almost went bust. Someone ran away with the funds. There was an embezzlement. One of the directors embezzled all the money. And then, so for about a year, there was no construction happened. Eventually, they caught him. Actually, he was caught in Scotland. He ran away after his embezzlement was after it was discovered. He was tried for that, and his punishment was 5 years deportation to Australia, which is what they did to people then. We discovered since actually that he never actually went, and he still he did some time in London, and then he cropped up again as a gunsmith, apparently. So, Thomas Homer was his name. So that was another reason, and there was another money-grabbing lawyer, landowner along the way who put all sorts of obstacles in the path of the construction of the Regent's Canal. So 8 years to build, twice as much, but eventually it was completed. And as I say, 1st of August 1821, the canal was opened. So we're situated about halfway along. So there's Regent's Park. This is the Islington Canal Tunnel, that little break there that you can see. So we're just off that, so about halfway along. This is Battlebridge Basin. There are various basins along any sort of canal, and this is where all the business took place. For example, there, that building, its offices now, that was a bottling plant for Guinness beer, amongst other things. So you can imagine the barrels coming in, it was all bottled and then went out. There was a jam factory at the end where the flats are now, so all the fruit pulp came in, all the bottled jam would have gone out. The Canal Museum, that's one of the older buildings on the basin. That was an ice warehouse. I'll tell you a little bit about the Canal Museum, perhaps. But all these things are bulk cargoes, ideally suited for canal transport. Ice, coal, manure going out from London to the farms further north, tanks of beer, and so on. It's very difficult to transport cargoes on land, and one horse can pull a cargo boat, so it can carry about 20 times as much cargo as it can in a horse and cart on land. So the Canal Museum, one of the original buildings, it was built in 1860. This basin was constructed in sort of 1820s, in the 1820s, just after the canal was opened, actually. 1860, Swiss-Italian by the name of Carlo Gatti came to London. He was seeking his fortune, and one of his ideas was to import ice. The ice came from Norway. It was farmed in artificial lakes in the mountains in Norway, cut into great big blocks, shipped over the North Sea, came into Limehouse Basin here, so up the canal as far as the docks. Then it was loaded onto canal barges, came the short journey up to the Canal Museum, unloaded, and it was stored in the big ice wells. You may have noticed one of them near this end of the building. That's where the ice was stored, kept in there for up to a year with fairly minimal melting, and that was sold all around London for refrigeration purposes, sold to businesses like fishmongers and butchers, and private houses as well. You might have had a little wooden fridge in your house, and the iceman would come round a couple of times a week and you buy a little block of ice and put that in. So the museum, do have a look round, because apparently the admission is all included to your visit to the boat today. So we tell the story about the ice trade and the story about canals generally, and particularly the Regent's Canal where we're situated. So a lot of the exhibits you'll see on the ground floor are about Carlo Gatti, who started up the business, and the ice trade generally. Ice cream, which was a spin-off from it. We've got a narrow boat in there. Interesting to compare it with the luxury of this, actually, because that's got a cabin in it, and it gives an idea of what it was like for families to live in this tiny little space on the canals. No facilities. Notice you've got 2 bathrooms in here. There isn't anything like that, and the water was stored in a ewer can or up on the roof. So all very different. And then upstairs we've got a nice big map, far better than this, which gives you an idea of London's canals and waterways. Lots and lots on the Regent's Canal, and the River Lee as well, which is London's second biggest river, and lots about the canal generally. I don't know what you're going to do after this. What I might suggest is it's quite entertaining to have a walk along the canal, walk up to King's Cross. There's been a lot of development there. So if you take a walk along the towpath, perhaps walk around Granary Square up there if you wanted to. If you've got to go back to King's Cross Station, that would sort of be en route. I can direct you to there if you're interested in doing that. So really that's just a very brief introduction to the canal and to the museum. So then I think the music starts soon, does it?
Yeah, okay, well that's
Okay.
brilliant. Yeah, thank you so
Okay,
much.
not at all. Oh, thank you. That's sort of just a representation of the building. So you can see the big ice chambers underneath. They're now covered up. And there's the canal at the back, you see. So that's where we are here. Yeah. And then the horses and carts at the front picking up the cargo. So I'll leave those out if you want to have a look. And I've got some brochures if you want to tell your friends about the Canal Museum.
Great.
I'll put those out for you.
Yeah, just
Okay.
we'll have them out today.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks very much for listening.
Brilliant.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, David. That's really interesting.
I'll play 4 short pieces and then 3 pieces, 3 songs with my daughter. She is just graduated from Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and she's a principal studying composer, but also enjoys singing, guitar, what else? Piano, cooking, drawing, lots of illustrations, children's books for music, all sorts of things like this. So, but we will do some songs. She's not kind of out there as a big-time professional singer yet, but she's on the way. But it's something that we've enjoyed. During the COVID, right at the beginning of that of the pandemic, we did a number of concerts. When I say a number of concerts, we did 3 months worth of concerts every night, from the end of March through to the end of June. We did concerts on our driveway. And our road is Delamere Road, so we called these the Dela Melodies. And they lasted for, as I say, about 90 days. And all socially distanced as much as we could anyway. And last night was like last night was wrong, great fun. So that's where Maya and I started doing some songs. So that's where it originates from. So I hope you enjoy what we do later on. She was wanting to start straight off with some kind of jazz-like things, but that will really throw me for playing some Brahms. Not Beethoven 110. Okay. So hope you enjoy. I'll start with some Brahms. Crumbs. So bad manner, but it's like I'm at home. Everything on this boat is so much higher quality than what we experienced in Wales. It's a lovely boat that we had, but nothing like this. And there's so much room. You can walk down the corridor. It's great. Right. Okay, so on this barge holiday of ours, we because I was thinking of things to play on my route around, trying to steer this barge, not this barge. My goodness, it's a bit scary. Do you drive it?
I try not to.
I've seen you at the wheel there.
Yes, well, on route I was sacked as our driver, so I don't anymore.
I've got some great footage of Yorko driving, steering, at the helm, steering, skipping one out. Some footage and camera looking up out of the galley up at her, and it's the look of. Anyway, so we were on our holidays, and this one bend. We've been on this barge twice before over the years, about 15 years. 15 years ago, then 10 years ago, and this year. And there's this turn, a really steep, really tight turn, but it's designed in such a way that you can moor a barge there, and it's got a nice kind of an amazing forest kind of rising up from the banks there. Lots of space around. It's just an amazing spot, and with no moonlight at all. It's just completely picture. There's just no street light, anything, and you're right out in the middle of nowhere. And so we've been there before. So we found this spot again, and we light a big fire and have a barbecue and all the rest of it. And then once that fire kind of goes down, and you realise just how remote you just feel, and it's just not a sound. So this piece is one of the Debussy preludes, and forgive my French, and maybe somebody can translate. Les sons et les parfums tonnant dans l'air du soir. Les sons, sounds, and smells turning in the evening air. So basically, it's just this atmosphere of. Did you have it? Did you play it?
They know the French. I study French.
Oh no!
No, I just.
Les sons?
0.
0 points. Okay. So anyway, this is the fourth prelude from the first book of Debussy preludes. I don't know if you're all familiar with this language of Debussy. Although Debussy wouldn't appreciate the term, it's very impressionistic. And it came to mind as something I could hear in those moments as the fire went out, and just hear the sounds of the forest. You actually hear the trees move again. Actually, there's been quite a lot of rain and wind anyway, and when we went back up into the forest, there were some branches that had definitely come down afresh, so it was definitely kind of be careful. Anyway, but it was very peaceful. as I was playing it, that was my thought as the evening got to its close. I don't know what my kids were listening to at the time. I don't know if that would have been their language, but that's what was going on in my head. And the other thing is Massa there? Or has he gone home? Massa, good point. Massa has made this very easy for me. This is just perfect. There's no skill here at all. This is just, you just have to touch it. It's like driving a Rolls Royce. It's amazing. I mean, amazing.
Very nice sound.
No, it's, yeah. A guitarist friend of mine, he was told that he played very beautifully and his guitar had a very beautiful sound. They're saying, "Oh, such a beautiful sound of your guitar." And he picks his guitar up and goes, now the next piece I'm going to play is a bit of a problem for me because I'm going to play some Rachmaninoff, and I don't play Rachmaninoff, and I'm on Rachmaninoff, and it's quite ironic. There's a kind of life thing here of Rachmaninoff on it, So if I get into trouble, I'll put that on. So yeah, Rachmaninoff is not my. It's not. I mean, I love Rachmaninoff. I love a lot of Russian music, but it's not music I can play very much. So I've never played this before. I mean, I had a look at it before today, but it's kind of. Is Massa there again? He's there, yeah. Because it's a tribute to you, Massa, and to Rihanna for a wonderful project. More than a project. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing you've done. And so I thought I should play some Rachmaninoff. And as I say, it's a dedication to the two of you and to the boat. So forgive me if it doesn't sound very Russian or whatever, or if I lose my way. I will use music, because as I say, this is something new to me. I was kind of learning it. A bit like Rachmaninoff, learning his third concerto on the boat across to the States. I learned this on my barge, so hope you enjoy. If I get lost, I get lost. Okay, before we get into some songs with Maya, a little bit of Gershwin. Gershwin.
It wasn't Gershwin.
George Gershwin. The Man I Love.
The Man I Love.
Yep. Do you sing it?
No. You'd all run away if I tried.
So that's my solo contribution, and I'm asked to bore you with this, but when you're preparing something, when I'm preparing something like this, not a good professional, but you say, yeah, let's do that. It's like, when you're kind of improvising your own play or something, you say, yeah, we'll do this, you walk in there, and then you do this, and you have all these things written in, and then you look back at it, and you think, so we go back and do that last bit. Anyway, I do that, and then that, and then the 5 chords. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to say anything?
No, I think we're straight to go. Except, what is my first note?
Why should a fella want a girl like her, a frail and fluffy beauty? Why can't a fella ever once prefer a solid girl like me? She's a frothy little bubble with a flimsy kind of charm, and with very little trouble I could break her little arm. Oh, why would a fella want a girl like her, so obviously unusual? Why can't a fella ever once prefer a usual girl like me? Her cheeks are a pretty shade of pink, but not any pinker than a rose's. Her skin may be delicate and soft, but not any softer than a doe's is. Her neck is no longer than a swan's. She's only as dainty as a daisy. She's only as graceful as a bird. So why is the fella going crazy? Oh, why would a fella want a girl like her, a girl who's merely lovely? Why can't a fella ever once prefer a girl who's merely me? She's a frothy little bubble with a frilly kind of air, and with very little trouble I could pull out all her hair. Oh, why would a fella want a girl like her, so obviously unusual? Why can't a fella ever once prefer a usual girl like me? going crazy. Oh, why would a fella want a girl like her? A girl who's merely lovely. Why can't a fella ever once prefer a girl who's merely me? That is a song called Stepsister's Lament from the musical Cinderella, but the version that we've just done is very inspired by the jazz singer Cecile McLaurin-Salmon, who's very, very worth checking out. Am I in frame if I'm like here? Yeah. Okay, cool. The next song we're going to do is a lovely standard called Body and Soul. My heart inside. My heart is sad and lonely. My heart it sighs for you, dear, only. Why haven't you seen it? I'm all for you, body and soul. I spend my days in longing and wondering why it's me you're wronging. I tell you I mean it. I'm all for you, body and soul. I can't believe it, it's hard to conceive it, that you throw away romance. Are you pretending it feels like the ending? Unless I could have one more chance to prove it. My life a wreck you're making. You know it's yours just for the taking. I'd gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul. I can't believe it, it's hard to conceive it, that you throw away romance. Are you pretending it feels like the ending? Unless I could have one more chance to prove it. My life a wreck you're making. You know it's yours for just the taking. I'll gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul.
Is anyone else swaying? It's just the whole time I close your eyes, I'm like, whoa. The last song we're going to do is from... Which one is this from? It's from a film called Majo no Takyubin, with Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a Hayao Miyazaki movie. And there's a song at the end called Yasashisa ni Tsutsumareta Nara. And that's what I'll be singing for you guys. It's
What does that mean?
it means like to be surrounded in kindness. It's a very sweet song.
And I can't see it on the screen.
It's definitely swaying.
小さい頃は神様がいて不思議に夢を叶えてくれた優しい気持ちで目覚めた朝は大人になっても奇跡は起こるよカーテンを開いて静かな木漏れ日の優しさに包まれたならきっと目に映るすべてのことはメッセージ小さい頃は神様がいて毎日愛を届けてくれた心の奥にしまい忘れた大切な箱を開く時は今雨上がりの庭で口なしの香りの優しさに包まれたならきっと目に映るすべてのことはメッセージカーテンを開いて静かな木漏れ日の優しさに包まれたならきっと目に映るすべてのことは